We are recording live, socialimperatives.com and Social Imperatives, working to change minds and hearts. One of the ways we're going to do that is we're going to introduce you to the homeless people. I think, and my co-creator Herman Burrig, excuse me, I have trouble with names. Anyway, short-term memory and all that. I don't know who this guy is, but we're going to meet him in a minute. We think that if it's difficult, it's hard as hell, it's easy to hate someone if all you hear is negative stuff about them. So we're going to show you some people, introduce you to a lot of homeless people in Austin, Texas. We're not going across the country. We're going to introduce you to the homeless of Austin, Texas. That's what this is about. This isn't about LA. This isn't about Boston, Honolulu, or any other big city. This is about Austin, Texas, and the homeless problem that we have here. There are many reasons for it. We will get into that as we expand and grow, and our topics for discussion section, we'll investigate a lot of it, all of it. But this is very important, to introduce you to people who are living this life and who many people think are unworthy of any kind of social notice. Kindness. But who would scream bloody murder if you didn't give them their due. Deservedly, whether you deserved it or not, whether they deserved it or not, wouldn't matter to them. So we're going to start with my friend and a fellow homeless man, a military veteran. His name is Charles Cade Cox. He has been homeless for how long, Charles?
This time around, just a year. Before that, I was housed for 2 years. And before I was housed for 2 years, I was homeless for before that I was housed for 2 years. I was housed for 7 years. I'm sorry. And before that, I was homeless for 4.
So it's been an up and down roller coaster ride. How old are you?
I turned 47 February 11th.
47. I turned 61 today.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. You're the only one of my friends that has wished me happy birthday. I'm so lonely. So, I've been homeless for 13 years almost. You've been homeless for a while, to the point that we're both chronically homeless.
Total 7 to 8 years I've been homeless.
Why do you think you failed when you in between the homelessness, you had apartments, correct?
Yes.
Why do you think you failed?
Well, it's easy to point blame at other people. Naturally, I had contributed to it, but both places were assisted living. I get a voucher for about $1,000 a month, and you can use these vouchers to any place that'll accept them. But it's kind of easy to let your caseworker kind of find a place for you, and they tend to go to these places that are assisted living where utilities are included. It's 30% of what you make, so most people there have some type of check coming in.
You have a military VA benefit check?
And 30% of that is my rent. The thing is these places are new, and they don't really have any precedence on how to make the rules. So the rules kind of are very similar to halfway house rules, and I didn't live in a halfway house. I lived in an apartment complex, and I felt that both places I was asked to not re-sign my lease. I wasn't evicted. I have good renter's credit. I just,
So, if I may ask, and I feel this way too, because in between, when I first came to Texas, I lived in Del Valley, which is a subdivision of Austin, and I did the boarding house thing, and they didn't give me a lease. It was month by month. The landlord prohibited all kinds of stuff, and I'm paying this man $400 a month, and I couldn't even have my girlfriend at the time come over and spend the night. I felt that this was wrong, and I kind of fought it. And after months and months of going back and forth between my landlord and the Renters Council here in Austin, he asked me to leave. Yeah, so having done nothing seriously wrong, he asked me to leave because I was going to the Renters Council and asked him, don't I have any rights? Do you feel that maybe play a part in people becoming homeless? Because really, there are no protections for renters in Austin, are there?
No, there's not. Most people don't realize that tenants have a lot more rights than they know. But for some reason in Austin, the judge will even tell you, you're right. By law, you're right. But here in Austin, we tend to side with the landlords. I mean, if they'll tell you that they're going against the law, and they side with the landlords here in Austin. Even though every other town I've lived in or state, tenants have so much more rights than they know they have. I'm sure somebody actually really fought it and then got a really good lawyer. In the long run, they'd win, but
it's hard to beat it.
They just want a roof.
and it's hard to beat an eviction court.
Yes.
But social imperatives will discuss the housing issue as it stands right now. Not only is Austin a very wealthy town, a lot of high-tech industry, the rents are expensive, very few units available at working man costs available, and we'll get into that. But right now, this is about my friend Charles.
I'm still going to raise my hand. One thing, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, did you?
I've had a brain collapse.
I do that every morning. I forget I'm awake, and I trip and fall. And I'm not intoxicated at all. I just, Charles, can we go back? And I think it's important that we show people that you're more than just someone on the sidewalk, some piece of dirt, some smelly item. Can you tell us who your parents were?
Yes, I can. My mother was Barbara Watts, no middle name. She was a twirler, Valdez High's most beautiful. Married my brother Joseph's father out of high school and college. She got pregnant. Didn't work out and moved to Natchitoches, Louisiana, and met my biological father, Charles Darrell Cox, on a dance floor. And Charles Darrell Cox was a bull rider, a bare knuckle boxer,
Wow.
a collector for the local crime element, and a cowboy.
This guy was a tough mother.
Oh yeah.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
My dad was too. My dad fought in World War II and worked at Standard Oil as a laborer his whole life.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails. You can die in an oil refinery. In fact, I remember when I was a little kid, there was an explosion in Whiting, Indiana at the Standard Oil plant. And my mother didn't have a clue what was going on for 10 hours before they started notifying families. My dad was unhurt. He got out of the area and started helping rescue people. So I take it that's the type of man your dad was?
That's the type of man my dad could have been. My dad could take quarters and throw them in the air and he'd shoot them out of the air with a single action revolver. He could whip a stick out of your hand with a bullwhip. He just was a cowboy, but was a lot of play no work. His parents.
His hands were always dirty.
Yeah, but it's my grandparents, my biological dads. I keep saying biological dad, but you'll understand why later.
Hmm.
His parents. Uh, my grandfather drove a truck for Shope's Furniture till he was 50 years old, saved every penny, and bought into Tom's Peanuts, a candy chip and peanut company.
This was in Louisiana.
Yes, and he delivered to all Central Louisiana on stock in the company, but didn't buy the company until he was 50. Drove the one truck. My grandmother answered the phone. I think when he sold the company, he might have had about 11 trucks.
So he built it.
Yeah, and he wanted my dad to take that over, and then me, of course. And my dad would drive a truck occasionally, but like I said, he played. He was loved. Everybody knew he was a great uncle, a great brother, a great father, and a horrible husband. He beat my mom the first time she left him. I wasn't on him. I'm sure I was a year old.
Well, I have to say that I understand it took a lot of guts for your mother to do that, I'm sure, but she didn't play. She didn't play. She was not going to stand for any of that. A lot of women wait and wait and wait, and at the detriment to herself and her children. How many siblings do you have?
Well, I have a half brother, Joseph, who actually I never even knew he was my half brother until we were much older. We were raised as brothers. We were brothers.
Are you close?
We were very close. We were best friends. He committed suicide in 2010. We'll probably get.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have a stepsister, Kelly Kirsch, who is still alive. Unfortunately,
all of them still live in Louisiana.
Well, Kelly lives in South Carolina. I have
Hold the microphone. My arm's getting tired from it.
I understand. I have no problem. I have a
As we
sister.
go on, we'll get better, I promise, bro. But you have a sister.
I have a half sister, same father, that I didn't even meet till I was 22. I think on her mom's deathbed, her mom told her, by the way, your dad's not your dad. He was in Vietnam, had an affair. And your dad is a man named Daryl Cox, who's passed away. You have a brother named Cade Cox, Charles Cade Cox. And we kind of, we talked here and there. She's the reason I'm in Texas. I got in a bad way. Pretty much hitchhiked part of the way, bus part of the way to Bastrop, Texas. And didn't know she had some, lived with her for about a month. Didn't know she had some issues herself in the head. And kind of lost it when they kicked me out. Lost it and kicked me out. I hitchhiked to
I'll get him right, folks. He's going to the School of Hard Knocks, School of Journalism. It's a very hard course. We study the shit. So
anyway, my half sister Anna, and she unfortunately passed away about 3 years ago. Died in her sleep. She was a year older than me, if that. She never knew our dad. Our grandparents refused to claim her. She saw a busboy wearing a shirt at the restaurant I worked at and said, my brother works there. He said, who's your brother? She said, Cade Cox. She says, oh, I know you're lying. I've known Cade my whole life. And she said, well, his dad drove a truck and my mom worked at a convenience store. He delivered candy. But no, his dad was an engineer and a politician. You're lying. He came and told me the story the next day at work, and I said, well, my stepfather was an engineer and a politician. My biological father drove a candy truck. He said she worked at the Shell, which was a truck stop everybody went to after the bar because they had food. And I said, what'd she look like? He said, she's kind of big with bleached blonde hair. So I went the night after the bar, and there was about 8 women back there with bleached blonde hair, kind of big, and I walked right up to her.
What happened?
I walked right up to her. I knew her by her face.
Okay.
She had my dad's face.
Mm-hmm.
There were 8 women.
So you could tell.
Yeah, there were 8 women. I walked right to her.
And
said,
what'd she say?
I said, what's your name? She said, Anna. It's okay. I walked out, and she called me the next day. She was a dispatcher for the police department. So she found my number. he called me and asked, "Why'd you leave?" And I wanted to be close to her, but I've always been the worst about phone call. Hey, I'll call you tomorrow, and I'll call you 3 years later.
Yeah. 'Cause you want to do something, but you put it off. You're unsure. I understand. I can't maybe verbalize it, but I understand.
I have Asperger's, which I'm very good at hiding.
Does that taste good? I thought you said.
It's a form of autism. I'm very good at hiding it. You wouldn't even know until I have like an anxiety attack, or until me and my girlfriend are alone and we think we're alone.
Actually, you have told me that before, so I've known that you've had it, but you can't really tell. I mean,
it's a struggle. It was a struggle for years. It can still be. I basically had to learn personality. I got my humor from Chevy Chase and Bill Murray, and
who didn't?
Right. And
Mr. Murray.
I developed the kind of a personality I wanted, and when you do that so much for so long, it becomes your personality.
Yeah. So, you grew up with your mom.
Well, Mom was a single mom. She cut hair, and she went to night school to get her degree, and she taught jazz dancing to overprivileged girls.
So you guys lived at home.
Just me and my brother, with the house that my biological dad built.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when he roughed up the first time, his brother-in-law, my Uncle Rex, and his first cousin, Ronald Wayne Dove, the only person I think to ever give my dad a run for his money fighting. They were best friends, first cousin and best friends, because he was a cop. They showed up at the house and basically.
The more reason not to fight him.
Right. They showed up at the house and basically told Daryl that you're going to give her whatever she wants. And my mom, she didn't hammer him. She said, "You can have Cade 1 week in a month as long as you're sober." And he gave her the house. And no courts, no mudslinging, just gave her the house.
So. And
he was murdered on his couch in 1979. I was 4 years old.
Wow. You were. When's your birthday, by the way?
February 11th, 1975.
Okay. So you and your brother were raised by your mom. Obviously, she did a good job. It's hard for a man and a woman to raise kids and have to work and have to pay bills. And you naturally want the best for your children. You want to give them the best. And doing that alone is, I couldn't imagine. So you and your brother graduated from high school?
Yes, we did. He's 3.5 years older than me, but he's 4 grades older.
Wow, he's pretty smart.
Yeah, I think he got a perfect on the SAT and ACT in math. He went to the Naval Academy.
Wow.
His senior year in 1989, they only accepted 2 people from Louisiana. He was one of them.
That's impressive because I've walked past the Naval Academy.
Yeah, right.
And they told me to get on the other side of the street. You are a military veteran.
Yes, I am.
Can you tell us what branch, your MOS, military occupational skill, your job, how long you were in, and touch on the high points for us?
Yes, I can. It's kind of funny because I actually wanted to be an Army Ranger, Special Forces, and then join the Secret Service when I was a kid. And then,
folks, he could come and get you at any moment.
And then I changed. I wanted to be an Army Ranger. I wanted to go to college, get my degree, and then enlist.
You were an Army Ranger?
No, I wanted to be.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to, because I was a kid, go to college, get a degree, enlist, because it was the fastest route, and then I changed to want to be the CIA after that when I was in high school. But I was very focused, graduated high school with honors, 2 football scholarships. My second year in college, I got a DUI driving 3 of my drunk fraternity brothers home by a cop who'd known me my whole life and hated me. And I knew right then I've never worked for any government, FBI, U.S. Marshals, CIA, Secret Service. I would never get a job doing that.
So you joined the Army?
Well, no, all my plans since I was 9 years old were shattered. I did a single drug until about till after that. Till I was 19. We drank and fought in high school, but it was accepted in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I made my grades and I played sports.
And the thing is, when you were growing up, I was growing up, there were no such things as a school shooting. Shooting at a school? No, it didn't happen. And I think that's attributable to our parents.
Yes.
It sounds like you had a very loving, giving mother, a very dedicated mother. I'm sure we've talked about her before.
Well, one thing you missed most of my life is she got remarried. When she got her degree, she volunteered for a campaign. She walked in a campaign office. It was Hinton Moore, who later on ended up being on George Bush Sr.'s cabinet.
Wow.
She walked in. It was Dwayne Murphy, who owned a lot of the funeral homes in Central Louisiana, and Charles E. Kirsch, Chuck Kirsch, who basically knuckled his way out of the Ninth Ward in New Orleans. Was a cop full time, working his way through college. Had to wear earphones to pass math. The got his degree in electronics, opened an electrical engineering firm, and got knuckled deep in politics. A little mob connected.
Well,
but my mom.
I wish I was mob connected.
Right. He was kind of, I think, helping with the finance for the campaign. And my mom walked in and said, "I want to be part of this. I believe in it. I believe in the candidate." They took her information, and Dwayne Murphy told my stepdad, Chuck, if you want to ask her how I am.
So your stepdad kind of said, "Okay,
Yeah.
that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the woman."
Right. Because he wanted a trophy wife. All his friends had trophy wives.
Well, unfortunately, many people do. It goes with being either close to or part of, I guess, what they're calling the 1% now. But so to summarize this first part of your life, single mom, great stepdad, right?
Well, yeah, he didn't want kids, but my mom just college educated and beautiful. He entertained a lot. The house, almost like an estate, was made for parties. Gave us a lot of outside toys to keep us away. Motorcycles, skateboard ramp, ski boats. But we also took care of all the property. We learned to appreciate it. He's a slave driver. I hated him. No one would spend the night with me because Saturday morning they had to do chores all day.
Yeah.
But my mom passed away of cancer after a 9-year battle when I was 15. And beforehand, she asked who I wanted to live with. We knew she was going to pass. And I just naturally said, well, Chuck. I mean, he's my stepdad, whether we like it or not. And from the moment she passed away, he became my best friend. My brother was in college. It was just me and Chuck. And he sat me down over a beer when I was 15 and said that the rules are always get over 3.5. Never quit anything you start. You don't have to do it the next year, but you can't quit. And don't get caught. Because when your brother threw parties, I always knew because the house was cleaner than when the maid came. The liquor bottles were fuller. He goes, don't get caught. Don't let me come home and have to talk to anybody's parents.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, I didn't know how to deal with kids. I'm sorry.
And he was image-minded, but was he a loving man? Told you?
Oh, definitely when I was in high school. But he said, I didn't know how to deal with little kids.
Yeah.
I figured I could collar you and hammer your ass when you're older to appreciate what you had. Or I could do that when you were younger. And yeah, you didn't have much of a childhood, but you're in high school. All you gotta do is go to school now, kid. Go to school, man. Have fun. And I always worked, but I didn't have to.
You graduated from high school?
Yeah.
And then what was the time frame? How long was it between the time you graduated from high school and you joined the service?
I graduated high school in 1983. I was 18. I joined the service at 28 years old. 10 years.
So in that 10-year span, just in very general terms,
Right.
because we are time limited.
Right.
What did you do between graduation at 18 and induction to the service at 28?
Well, when I was 19, like I said, When I got a DUI after that, I figured, what the hell? I started partying, doing recreational drugs, a lot of ecstasy, LSD. Never anything really addictive. I mean, we did it, but it was never a habit. Except for marijuana. Sold ecstasy, sold LSD, sold weed.
You had, in that 10-year time period, you had a casual recreational acquaintance with marijuana, some hallucinogens, some
Club
speeds.
drugs.
Yeah, club drugs. But you gave all that up when you joined the Army?
Yeah, or joined the Navy.
Joined the Navy, I'm
Well,
sorry.
actually, I mean, like I said, I didn't do anything like hard, like speed or cocaine. If I did it hard for a day or two, but I wore me out.
Binge type things.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it for a long time after that. So it never really became a habit because I was I had 2 football scholarships that I lost because I got hit by a car my senior year. But I ended up going to Louisiana Tech on a collegiate cheerleading scholarship.
Did you graduate from Louisiana Tech?
Yes, I did.
What type of degree? 4-year, 2-year?
It's 4-year histories.
What was your, if you remember, what was your cumulative grade point average for the 4 years?
2.8.
2.8. That's a C plus. No, that's a B minus, right? I think it goes from.
Used to be a 3.0 was the lowest B, but that's changed. They've lowered it a little, so yeah.
But you graduated,
Yes.
and then you joined the Navy. What did you do?
Wow. I was bartending when I graduated. I started bartending when I was 18. The drinking age in Louisiana was 18 when I graduated high school.
So let's go on to the.
I continued working in the service industry. I got moved up to where I was managing restaurants. I worked for a gentleman where he owned 2. I head bartender at one, old bartender at one, managed another one. September 11th happened. I was 28. And it kind of reminded me of who I was. That I was a patriot. My parents were stout patriots. I grew up watching the Cold War on CNN. My parents were very liberal when it came to human rights, but when it came to our military, our CIA, our foreign policy, they were very Republican. They believed in protection and a strong military. So I dropped everything and I enlisted.
In the Navy. How long were you in the military?
Between 4 and 5 years.
Okay, so you joined the Navy. What was your job? What was your MOS?
Well, I was basically at first a bosun mate, but also anybody can travel for Spec Ops and 5th year boot camp. But the carrier group I was attached to did mainly drug interdiction in South America.
You saw action?
Yeah, boarding drug boats, drug raids. I was a joint DEA, Coast Guard, Navy task force, basically.
So you were protecting America from very dangerous illicit drugs and very dangerous people.
Yeah, that's a good textbook definition. If we seize 4 tons of cocaine, that means 40 tons got in somewhere else. They give us that intel to keep the machine rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Too many people make money off of it for it to stop.
Well, because I think just having what you just said about if you scored so much, if you scored a bust of so many pounds of drugs, that much more got in somewhere else. That's true. I'm sure I've heard that before. I heard that especially in the 1980s. But it doesn't mean that your work was not very admirable and well done, man. Well done from me and from Herman. Well done.
One thing that kind of kept me cool with it is that they were getting intel that the cartels were helping fund Al Qaeda, because I didn't quit a job making good money with medical benefits and enlist at 28 years old for war against cocaine. It was to fight terrorists.
But when you join the service, folks, you have to do. You're allowed to pick your MOS. You go into Armed Forces Enlistment Station. You take a test, and the results of those tests tell the recruiters what you're eligible to do in the service, and then you can pick from a list of what you're eligible for. And sometimes recruiters don't always tell you the full description. Like with me, when I went into the Army, I qualified for telecommunications, military police operations, and 11 Bravo, 11 Charlie, which is infantry. And I said, well, I don't want to be a cop, and I don't know if I could type 30 words a minute, so I'm not going to telecommunications. What's 11 Bravo? And he said, oh, you'll be working with small arms, weapons, and stuff like that. And then he was very eerily silent. Then I didn't pick up on it. In fact, I didn't pick up on it until I got done to Fort Knox, and they started screaming at me and, driving me crazy for 7 weeks. But so you were in the Navy, you did special ops, you did drug interdiction, you protected our country from as much as the military can from illicit drugs and bad people. And let me say this, folks, the military does a bang-up job at doing this. They do. They take their lives in their hands, and they try very hard. However, you have to realize Americans have a lust for illicit drugs, especially cocaine. In the 1980s, America had a lust.
You'd be surprised to know that up to date, 33% of Americans still do cocaine. 33%.
So it's not the military's fault that they didn't get everything in everyone. This man was out there on the front lines trying to keep your kids safe from garbage. And I think you did a great job, man.
Everybody on our ship should have been commended. A pat on the back, because a lot of them joined because of September 11th. And
so, may I ask you a very important question? You're homeless. Are you a drug addict?
Yes, I am.
What's your drug of choice?
My drug of choice is not a drug, it's marijuana. My addiction is opiates, heroin.
You're addicted to heroin?
Yes, I am.
How much does that cost you a day?
Well, I'm sure everybody hears this from all kinds of different addicts, but and I've been told, and I like to think that I'm a lot different than your average heroin addict. I try to do just enough to not be sick. I have a girlfriend who's handicapped.
Julie.
Hopefully you guys out there will meet her as well.
We will. I plan on doing an interview with Julie because this woman is extraordinary. I don't want to tell you much about her, but she's suffering now from MS, and she's addicted, as is Charles, as am I. My drug of choice is methamphetamine. I like to go fast. It makes the day go by quicker. So we're drug addicts. We are intelligent human beings. His girlfriend Julie, well, you'll meet her soon, and
Brilliant.
She's brilliant.
Mother of two, worked for military intelligence. Got struck with early onset multiple sclerosis. Moved on to Dell Computers to translate books, and then couldn't even do that anymore. When she moves, her hips crack. She's not much older than I am.
It's very painful. But listen, and you will meet Julie,
right.
and she's a wonderful woman, and you'll love her. You really will.
The reason I was bringing Julie up is because I can't get all whacked out. I have to think of her. I have to take care of her, because hers is strictly for the pain remedy.
So you got addicted to drugs not because of pain, or not because of pain from an injury, or
me and Julie are not heroin addicts because we wanted to get high. The VA quit giving us our prescription opiates.
that he gave you for pain
And
from injuries you suffered in the service.
well, yeah, well, my knees. I have no cartilage in my knees. Whether it be from extreme, my brother were extreme sportists, but they were pretty tore up when I joined the service. But I was tough enough to muscle through it. Most people, when they get out of a career of the military, especially the Navy, because the ladder wells you climb, their knees are shot. But mine, it only took 4 years.
So
But I was on Tylenol 3 with codeine, Vicodin as needed for anxiety and PTSD. I was on Klonopin, which is a benzodiazepine.
So because of injuries that you suffered and wear and tear on your body from performing your military job, you were on very strong painkillers. Vicodin is an addictive painkiller. And so they took you.
Tylenol 3 with codeine.
Yes, exactly. Well, what I'm getting at, and what's very important here, folks, is that this man was on prescription drugs prescribed to him by a doctor. The DEA and the FDA have regulate these drugs very tightly, and they only let patients stay on these drugs for 5 years, right?
5 years. Sometimes it just depends on really the doctor. But 5 years is the max. But really, I don't know why the DA has to say so when doctors decide.
Why do insurance businessmen decide medical issues
Right.
and what would be covered? So you were left out in the cold by these regulations. You couldn't get the medications you needed because pain lasts a lifetime, and the government agencies limit the medications you can have to 5 years. It's not like you're going to die within those 5 years. You're still going to need something for the pain, and you eventually ran into heroin.
Well, it wasn't actually. It didn't even take 5 years. With the VA, if you fill a drug test for anything controlled, you cannot get anything controlled from them again.
Okay.
And you once you get prescribed these medications, they mail it to you in the mail. You just got to do a checkup about every 6 months. Well, when you get flagged, they just quit sending it to you in the mail. They don't tell you. They don't warn you. You just start
They
withdrawing.
just cut you off.
Yeah, you just start withdrawing. And in my case, benzodiazepine are addictive, and you heavy withdrawals. You can die from those withdrawals. Of course, Vicodin and Tylenol 3 with codeine are opiates, just like heroin and morphine. You withdraw from them very hard. Julie, same thing.
How long have you guys been addicted to heroin?
It'll be in October. It'll be 3 years. But now I did a stint. I did about a 9-month stint in New Orleans after my brother killed himself in 2010. I got a lot of money for life insurance policy. I blew through the blood money, and when the money was gone, I just quit. I didn't think about finding a sign, or I just didn't register. I just quit. I had to quit.
What? I'm sorry, folks, but we're going to have to look at wrapping this up in the next 5-10 minutes. But so I need to ask you two important questions. What do you think is the base cause of your homelessness?
Well, my homelessness actually isn't from any addiction or gambling or porn or liquor or drugs. Those habits kind of. I mean, I've struggled with addiction my whole life, but I always worked. I always had a handle on it to an extent. Mine is really kind of because of a girl. Kind of emptied my checking account. Sold a $42,000 vehicle that was only 9 months old. Got a convertible and $2,000 for it.
So
Kind of left me out to dry, and I was in Panama City Beach, Florida. We were staying with her mom, and I couldn't continue staying with her mom. Basically, everything on Panama City Beach closes from Halloween to March 1st.
Mm.
And it was
Seasonal
December.
work.
Yeah, it was December. I had about $2,000 left with me, and I basically stayed in a hotel through the holidays, and the money ran out, and it was a tough winter. And then I got in touch with I remember I had a half sister, and I got in touch with Anna in Bastrop, and as I was hitchhiking to Texas, she sent me some money, and I picked up at a bus station and went the rest of the way.
You were addicted to drugs this whole time?
No,
No.
not at all. No.
Did the drug addictions come after you began your financial struggles?
I struggled with it all through my 20s. I was like I said, always worked. Military, not one. The minute I joined, it didn't bother me at all. Anytime I was doing extreme sports with my brother, I didn't have a problem with it. But the military, I didn't do drugs at all. One time, I lie. I was in Colombia. Panama, and we had some R&R for about 4 days, and I couldn't just go to that close to Colombia and not try the cocaine. So we tried it the first night.
Blame the Colombians.
We tried it the first night out because we knew if we came back 4 days later, we would be clear of a drug test. That's the only time I did anything wrong in the military. The worst addictions I've had, the worst person I've been, because my addiction has been since I became homeless.
After you became homeless, the drug use became worse?
It was alcohol.
Which is a drug.
Which has done me worse than any drug ever has. I mean, waking up having to choke down 2 24-ounce 8% beers.
So, if caseworkers came to you and said, Charles, we'll get you and Julie drug rehab, we'll get you on methadone, Suboxone, whatever it takes, and you were willing to do this, do you think you could return to a housing and employment? I know that you get a disability check from the VA. So do you think you could return to a normal life and carry on a post-drug addiction?
Absolutely.
So the will is there.
Oh, it's definitely there. It's just people don't realize how bad heroin withdrawals are. People say, is it that good that you gotta do it that much? No, it's not. It's deglamorized not very long into your addiction. It's the sickness is so bad.
Being dope sick.
It makes people kill and steal. Makes people kill themselves. It makes people.
And that's a good point, because with heroin and it's probably the worst drug that you could get addicted to. It drives you. It compels you to do to behave in ways that are illegal, immoral sometimes, and just to get what you need for you and your girl, you and your wife, or just you to survive. So, would you say it's fair, because of your addiction to heroin, every moment you spend awake, you spend looking for funds for that drug?
Yes. It's a full-time job, especially since I'm supporting 2 people, me and Julie. Unfortunately, same thing happened with her. We both tested positive for marijuana. That's why the VA cut off our medication. Julie was just smoking it because she had hot flashes from her MS, and it lowered her temperature. I was just smoking because I go to the movies twice a month. I didn't think anything of it. She didn't either. They just quit sending our meds in the mail. And I had a couple staying with me who did heroin. He goes, hey, this right here. Hey, this right here will stop your sickness, your withdrawals.
Yeah.
I had a little problem with that, and going, so that's okay. Just only do it for about 2 or 3 days, and then
Okay.
stop.
So I hope this gives people some kind of idea about life. It's tough. There's no instruction manual that comes with life. We make mistakes. We the government makes bad policies for its veterans. These are not excuses. These are reasons why other things happen. I'm not trying to excuse or reason away my drug use or my friend Charles and my friend Julie's drug use. I'm just trying to find out why it happens and what we can do about it. Charles, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And in a minute, can you give us a closing statement?
Well, I do want to give you, just for you folks out there, just a real fast a summary outline of maybe kind of what I've been through. Dad murdered when I was 4, but my first memory is my mom pushing me in her car while he beat her. I was 2.5. Mom, cancer for 9 years, died at about 15. When I got out of the service, after seeing some things that didn't really settle well with me, about a few months after that, my stepdad that raised me died in his sleep. 2 years after that, my brother killed himself. I reached out to his sister here in Austin, and she died in her sleep. I'm homeless because of a woman I love took everything from me and left me in a city, in a hotel in the holidays. So, when you see people out there on the streets and they ask help for a little help, or just if they ask or not, remember that they're human. They've all got a story.
Guys, we want you to think. We want you to think. I know it's scary when you're sitting in your car at dark and you're by yourself with your children or with your husband, your family, or by yourself, and some stranger comes up, knocks on the window, and starts screaming, "Can you spare me some money?" You're terrified. You're scared. Even men, not in a cowardly way. It's tough to look at some of the behaviors that people do when they're homeless. But we want to show you, and I think we have started to with this interview, Charles. Thank you so much, man. And I hope you'll come back and talk to us again. I'd love to do an interview with you where we're just talking about nothing but drug use and drug addiction, because, again, it's not an excuse. We're not excusing the behaviors. We're trying to explain them and, making me a criminal by giving me and Charles and all of us 150, 200, 300, 400 misdemeanor convictions that's not an answer, man. That's not an answer. That is an effort, an attempt to get us to leave this city or whatever city we're in and just go away because they don't want to see it.
So I'm sorry, but I have a bachelor's degree. I have no felonies on my record, and I'm a decorated combat veteran. Or decorated.
It wasn't combat in the sense of World War II or Vietnam, but it was, you did face live fire from enemies.
Yes, like the both
drug dealers.
Yes. And like I said, it's kind of a touchy subject. We're not in a war zone. It's kind of, it's up to, I guess it's up to whoever's telling the story. But I'm college educated. I have no felonies. Marty is also college educated. And you know what? A lot of your homeless people out there aren't homeless because of drugs. The drugs come later because it's a lot easier to deal with this.
And if you go to our section, our section entitled Art from the Streets, you'll see a lot of talented people. I have poems there. I'm going to have more poems. There'll be short stories. There'll be a lot of art. But stay tuned and keep an open mind. Even if you've had a bad experience with a homeless person, keep in mind, man, we're human and we all have some redeeming qualities. We're not talking about serial killers, murderers. We're talking about people who made some bad decisions after they experienced hardships in life, hardships that are sometimes unbearable. And folks, Ask yourself this: what would you do? Thank you, Charles.
You're welcome.